Thank you, Matt. Good afternoon, everybody. When I began the Judge Henry Ellenbogen digitization project that was underwritten by his daughter Judy in the May of 2023, I didn't expect it to have a lasting impact or for it to become so much more than just a project. As an archivist in the 21st century, I've had my fair share of similar projects. It's the same process each time. I scan the archival materials, write the metadata for said materials, and then send it off to historic Pittsburgh, where the materials are displayed online and easily accessible. This is nothing out of the ordinary and can often be quite monotonous if I'm being honest. But the beauty of a digitization project is that it's an opportunity to dive into unfamiliar collections. It's an opportunity to discover new things. Once I started scanning, I quickly realized these materials weren't run-of-the-mill letters, but rather correspondence chronicling how Henry Ellenbogen helped Jewish Europeans escape Nazi persecution. But before I go any further, I'd like to tell you a little bit about who this man was. Henry Ellenbogen was born in Vienna, Austria, to Jewish parents, where he attended high school and college. He then studied at the University of Vienna for 2.5 years before immigrating to Pittsburgh in 1921. He worked as an accountant for Kaufman's department store by day and attended Duquesne University's law school by night. In 1924, Ellenbogen graduated from law school and passed the Pennsylvania bar exam with the highest marks ever received. He was a liberal judge for the time, known for defending the interests of labor against corporate abuse. Ellenbogen served as a representative from the 33rd Congressional District in the U.S. House of Representatives from 1932 until 1938. He resigned from Congress to take a position on the bench of the Allegheny County Court of Common Pleas, and in 1963 rose to the rank of President Judge. Ellenbogen is best remembered for reforming the Court of Common Pleas and modernizing the court system before retiring in 1978. But hopefully after today, he's remembered for much more than that. Today, I want to introduce to everyone 3 families that contacted Ellenbogen between 1938 and 1940. I should note that this is only a sampling, and many of these exchanges carry on for months, if not years. For me, this sampling is comprised of some of the most heartbreaking, but yet the most inspiring letters of the collection. The first set of letters was exchanged between Emanuel Ellenbogen and Henry Ellenbogen, as well as a letter Henry sent to the American Consul General in Prague. In this first letter dated November 22nd, 1938, Emanuel Ellenbogen, who is of no relation to Henry, uses the likeness of their names as a way to appeal to the judge for his help. He's stuck in Prague with his wife and 3 daughters and desperate for a way out. Henry then shares that he's unable to help after already reaching the limit of his abilities to help other refugees. But interestingly enough, just a few months later, after responding to Emanuel, Henry writes to the American Consul General of Prague on the man's behalf. In a letter dated February 6, 1939, he attests to Emanuel's character and asks the consul to closely consider admitting him to the United States. Unfortunately, we never learn if Emanuel Ellenbogen made it to the United States because the correspondence dropped off after May of 1939. This isn't unique in that sense and is a common theme throughout the collection. But nevertheless, it quickly became evident to me that while the original letter is often full of emotion, Ellenbogen's response is usually dry and matter of fact. He doesn't usually share his thoughts or opinions, but rather remains a steadfast professional. He uses his knowledge of the bureaucratic process and political connections to provide help. Ellenbogen was interested in connecting Jews with political figures that could potentially help. This next set of 4 letters are a bit more personal, as the people seeking help are Ellenbogen's own family members. In this letter to his Aunt Minnie, to the left of the screen, or on the screen, Ellenbogen shares that he's received letters from his cousin Ignaz Ellenbogen, in which he pleads to be brought to the U.S. He goes on to write, "I need not tell you how terrible conditions are over there and how important it is that we save everyone we can possibly save. I found this line to be particularly poignant. I can sense the desperation in his words. But Ellenbogen maintains his composure in this letter to the American Consul General of Vienna dated November 4th, 1938. He writes that he has sent a separate affidavit of support for Eric Ellenbogen after already sending one for both Eric and his father Ignaz, in hopes that Eric could immigrate first. Similar to his letter to the American Consul General of Prague, Ellenbogen asks this consul for special consideration and hopes that Eric's visa will be given early consideration. These next two letters, dated March 6, 1940 and October 30th, 1940, respectively, indicate the amount of time it takes to get the immigration process moving. After 2 years, oh, sorry about that. We're not there yet. After 2 years, Eric made it to New York City, but his parents weren't as fortunate. In both letters, Ellenbogen expresses his confusion and frustration over the lack of progress in obtaining Ignaz a visa. He shares that he's contacted numerous people at the State Department, as well as the consul in Vienna in the letter to your left. 7 months later, he's still trying to help Ignaz in this letter from October 1940 to your right. Ellenbogen shares that he's gone a step further and has contacted Senator Joseph Guffey, as well as the consul in Vienna and other friends in Washington. Similar to Emanuel Ellenbogen's case, the records don't shed light on what happened to Ignaz and his wife, Martha. In the last letter from the couple dated July 29th, 1949, they share that their departure has been delayed due to new immigration regulations and ask Henry to help in any way that he can. For anyone that's had a chance to check out our new exhibit, Pittsburgh's Hidden Histories, this next case may be familiar to you, as the telegram I'm going to share is currently on display there. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, please do. The exhibit is one of my favorites. In March of 1938, Dr. Adolf Grunbaum, pictured here with his family, contacted Henry Ellenbogen for his help in escaping Vienna. In response, Ellenbogen writes to both Dr. Grunbaum and his brother-in-law, Dr. Leopold Mailer, to outline the procedure, which includes writing affidavits of support on behalf of the Grunbaums to indicate that the person or people will not become a public charge. Dr. Grunbaum's situation becomes dire pretty quickly. In the telegram from July 21st, 1938, Dr. Mailer writes that Grunbaum has been arrested and is in danger of being sent to the Dachau concentration camp. He asks Ellenbogen to get in touch with his contacts at the State Department so that they can intervene. The intervention seemingly never happens, as Ellenbogen receives a letter from Dr. Mailer on February 21st, 1939, stating that Dr. Grunbaum has been released from the concentration camp and will soon arrive in the United States. The Grunbaums arrived in New York City in the spring of 1939. These are only 3 of the 13 immigration cases housed in the Henry Ellenbogen collection. Each one is full of raw emotion, a sense of urgency, and in most cases, fear. I'd also like to note that Henry Ellenbogen kept this part of his work to himself, and it wasn't until after his death that his daughter Judy learned the extent of his immigration letters. Judy saw the value in these papers and their historical importance. I can only hope that the letters I've shared with you today have had the same impact that they've had on me. These letters, along with 564 more, can be found on the Historic Pittsburgh website, and the collection is also open for research on site. Thank you all for coming out today. I know you'll enjoy the remaining presentations as much as I will. My colleagues are wonderful storytellers,